The Supreme Court released opinions today in two cases involving the ability of administrative agencies to impose fines and penalties on those appearing before them or subject to their jurisdiction. The first case involved multi-million-dollar penalties that the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, imposed against both AT&T and Verizon for violating various regulatory provisions. Now, AT&T and Verizon, they paid these penalties and then they challenged them in federal court, but they argued that doing so essentially violated their Seventh Amendment right to a jury trial. In an 8-1 decision written by Chief Justice John Roberts, the court disagreed with AT&T and Verizon, essentially saying that their decision to prepay those penalties and then challenge them was a voluntary decision, that while they were entitled and are entitled to a trial in an Article III court before a jury of their peers, that prepaying the penalty does not violate that Seventh Amendment right to a jury trial. Only Justice Thomas dissented, essentially arguing that the statutory scheme did require them to prepay those penalties and thus violated the Seventh Amendment. The second case the court decided was a case called Sripetch versus SEC. Now, this was a continuation of a line of cases that the court last decided in Liu versus SEC, and essentially the question the court was asked to resolve here was whether a disgorgement order issued by the SEC in order to get back ill-gotten gains for violations of the securities laws, whether a disgorgement order required the SEC to show specific pecuniary loss to identifiable victims before that disgorgement order could be entered. And again, in a unanimous decision, this time written by Justice Neil Gorsuch, the court said that no, showing of specific loss to specific individuals was not required. Now, Justice Clarence Thomas, he agreed with the court's decision, but he again wrote separately, concurring in the judgment, arguing that in his view, a disgorgement order was a legal, not an equitable remedy, especially because Congress has codified disgorgement as a remedy available to the SEC. Now, this technical distinction between a legal and equitable remedy, it matters because if something is categorized as a legal remedy, it means the Seventh Amendment right to a jury trial applies, whereas if it is an equitable remedy, that right does not apply. This is an issue that the court did not decide in this case, but it is one that is likely to come back before the court in future proceedings.